Okay, math people. First video of our flipped classroom. We're going to get down to it. This is going to be a short one. But before we get to anything, we got to make sure we have this vocabulary from the last section locked down. You can recall that a function takes the value from a set called the input, and each input has exactly one output. Speaking of the input, we know of it as a few different things. We talk about it as the x, the domain, the independent variable. We're going to need to have all of these associations ready to go whenever we're going to need them, whenever a question refers to it in a certain way. Next up, the output. Again, every x has its y, every domain has its range, and every independent variable has its dependent variable. So these terms are associated with each other. We've got to have them separate, we've got to have them understood, or we're not going to have much success in this class. Another thing that we should all have some ideas of how to do, but if we don't, I wanted to include this in there just kind of as a refresher. We are plotting points. Some of you guys may be a little more rusty than others, but if they're not, copy this into our notes if we need to. This all boils down to having a origin here at 0, 0. And these ordered pairs, x, y, think about the alphabet, x, y, z. If you're wondering which one comes first, x always comes before y in our ordered pair. Now these ordered pairs give us some freedom. We can go any direction out of the origin based off of what we're given. One thing I do want to stress here is this blue point, the negative 1.5, negative 2.5 ordered pair. I just do like to remind you guys that decimals, numbers that are not just integers, have a place in math. So if we ever have something where we're asked to graph a decimal, we shouldn't be freaking out. We graph them just the same as we do any whole number. Alright, so for the first example, we're building off of what we did in class in terms of evaluating a function, plugging numbers into these rules. So the first up, we're asked to graph the function y equals 1/2 x with the domain 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. So we just get down to it, we start plugging in. When we hit the x with a 0, 0 times 1/2 is going to be 0. 1/2 times 2 is going to be 1. 1/2 times 4 is going to get us 2. 1/2 times 6 is going to be 3. And 1/2 times 8 is going to be 4. So as I finish this up, I'll get my numbers in for the output. Now, you might notice again in the blue, it's written a little bit differently. I wrote it as 0.5 instead of 1/2. And in math, if something's equal, we can be plugging that equal value in. So if you are one of the many that hate fractions with a burning passion, we can work with the decimals. Now, next up is plotting each point. So if we go down, we make a simple graph. We notice that all of our values are positive, so we just need the top right quadrant, or quadrant 1 of our graph. We take our points and we just get going. 0, 0, 2, 1, 4, 2, 6, 3, and 8, 4. You can see that the points are slowly climbing as we progress through our graph. Now, again, if you're sitting there looking, oh, this seems pretty easy, why is he making a video? It is that easy, but we need to have this stuff ready to go so that we can actually see some fun examples in class. Now, I'll give you a shot at doing one. I want you to do this. I'm not making a table. I want you to evaluate and see if you get the same. So if you were asked to graph the function y equals 2x minus 1 with the specified domain, and pause if you're not done yet, but our graph should be looking something like this. Again, each x has a y. Each x only has one y. There's not any chances that we're going to have one popping up with more than one output or anything like that. And that is really all there is to it. Now, I do want to show you a couple graphs just to show you where we build off of this in math, so bear with me as I switch over to my browser. Alright, we are switching over to Desmos.com. It is a great graphing calculator software for those of you guys that like to visualize the math that we are seeing. I would recommend it throughout the course, and you'll see me using it time and time again with these videos. But I want to show you the parent function so that you can kind of see how this progresses. So y equals x over here, that's the basic linear function. That's what we're going to be seeing a lot throughout our course. We're going to be describing how this line changes, how quickly it's increasing, how quickly it's decreasing, things like that. But if you're saying this is easy, how can we be applying this to the real world? It's so simple. Yes, this is, but not where we're going. So if we take the linear equation out and pop in a quadratic, you see the functions start to get a little bit more challenging. Alright, how about we add on the cubic function instead here? And again, y equals x squared becomes y equals x cubed now. And a few more, the rational function y equals 1 over x. The exponential function y equals 2 to the xth power. Trigonometric functions y equals sine, cosine, tangent, all those other things that you've probably seen on your calculator and not known what they do. And last but not least, y equals the square root of x. Now, again, we will see mostly just the linear function in our class. We'll dabble a little bit with the quadratic towards the end. But as you see here, it is a mess on this graph because there's so many different types of functions. We need to take each opportunity we have to make sure we are mastering the one function that we are focusing on. Master this linear equation so that when we get into all this other stuff, we're not getting weighed back or weighed down by the basics. So that's really all I have to say about this. I look forward to seeing you all in class, actually applying some of this and seeing where we go from there. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you are too. Have a great night, everybody, and I will see you in school.